All right, let's dive into one of the hottest topics in the state right now, the Michigan real estate market. If you're even thinking about buying, selling, or you're just trying to figure out where home values are going, you're in the right place. We are going to break down the hard numbers for you. Okay, so let's start with the huge bird's eye view. The market across the state has just been on fire. We are talking over 44,000 homes sold so far this year alone. And get this, that's more than 14 times billion dollars changing hands. I mean, these are massive numbers, right? But what do they actually mean for you on the ground in your neighborhood? So to get to the real story, we're not messing around with guesswork. We are going straight to the source. All the data we're looking at today comes directly from the 2025 reports from the Michigan Regional Information Center, also known as MICRIC. This is the real deal, the same core data that pros in the industry use every single day. Now, we all know real estate is local, right? A trend in one city might be totally different just a few miles away. So to really understand what's going on, we're going to zoom in and use Kent County as our case study. By focusing on one key area, we can see how those big statewide numbers actually play out in real life. The very first thing that jumps out is that the market is just busier. It's heating up. Look at new listings, up 7.4% from last year. That means more people are deciding now is the time to sell. But even more telling, closed sales are up a solid 8.5%. So not only are more homes being listed, more are actually selling. The whole market is just more active. Okay, so with more homes coming on the market and more sales happening, you gotta ask what's going on with prices. And this, my friends, is where the story gets really interesting, because it's not one simple answer. It's really a tale of two completely different markets. First up, single-family homes. And no big surprise here, the trend we've seen for years is still going strong. Prices are climbing. The median sales price in Kent County is up almost 6% from last year, sitting just shy of $360,000. But hold on, let's flip the coin over. When you look at the condo market, you see the exact opposite happening. The median price for a condo has actually dropped by 1.6%. It's down to $305,000. So here's the key takeaway. The market's direction completely depends on what you're buying. Demand for standalone houses is still incredibly strong, and that's pushing prices up. Maybe it's people wanting more space, a yard, you name it. But at the same time, the condo market seems to be cooling off a bit. This split is absolutely crucial to understanding what's really happening out there. All right, we've got prices moving in opposite directions. But what about speed? In a hot market, how fast a home sells tells you a whole lot about buyer demand. So how much time do you really have to make a decision? Let's check the clock. Now, this is where it gets really telling. Yeah, okay, homes are staying on the market a little longer than last year, 22 days for a house, 40 for a condo. But look at that second column, percent of list price received. Single-family homes are still selling on average for over the asking price. That 101.1% tells you everything. Bidding wars are still a thing, and the competition for houses is still fierce. So all of this data, the activity, the prices, the speed, it all funnels down to the one question everyone wants answered. Who has the upper hand right now? Is it a buyer's market, or do sellers still call the shots? To figure that out, we look at this key number called months' supply of inventory. It sounds super technical, I know, but the idea is actually really simple. Just imagine your local grocery store suddenly stopped getting new deliveries of bread. The month's supply would be how long it would take for all the loaves currently on the shelves to sell out. It's the exact same idea, but with houses. And right now, for single-family homes in Kent County, that number, the amount of time it would take to sell every house on the market, is just 1.7 months. And that number tells you everything. You see, a balanced market, where neither buyers nor sellers have a big advantage, is typically between 4 and 6 months of supply. So at 1.7 months, well, it's not even close. There are just not enough homes to go around for all the buyers who want one. It is, without a doubt, still a strong seller's market. And to put all of this in perspective, let's just zoom out for a second. This isn't some short-term thing. The price growth over the last decade has been absolutely dramatic. A typical home that sold for about $150,000 back in 2015 is now going for almost $360,000 today. This chart just shows you the powerful, steady climb that's been driving this market for years. So, where does this all leave us? We're looking at a market full of contrasts. On one hand, we're seeing more homes for sale, which gives buyers a little more breathing room. But on the other hand, that decade of rising prices shows just how strong demand has been, and it's still pushing house prices up, keeping sellers in the driver's seat. Which brings us to the big question for 2025. With these forces pushing and pulling, are we finally starting to see the first steps toward a more balanced market? Or is this just a quick pause before the next big surge? That's the billion-dollar question.